Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Tonight we're back here with Josh Scorcher with Sonic Month again, with the top 10 Sonic bosses. So, yeah, basically the best boss fights out of all the Sonic games. Though, I'm not sure all 6 are going to count, but how about we hop in and see which one's the best of the best. Be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Let's go! Here we go.
The fastest thing alive, life is like a never-ending race. And like any competition, you got your obstacles and hurdles in the way. Usually in the form of robots, rotund mustache guys with anger issues, and slightly edgy doppelgangers. But as a pro athlete, you gotta approach any oncoming hindrance as you would in any contest, by spin dashing the crap out of it until it explodes. No real Sonic game would be complete without your epic brawls, so I thought it was time to pay tribute to the boss fights of the franchise.
Yeah.
You may notice that a lot of these are the final bosses of their respective titles. That's because these boss fights tend to be the best fights in the game. That speaks a lot about the quality.
They kind of set up the
also in the spirit of fairness,
finale
we're
of
gonna
all.
try and not make it all about the Eggman fights. I mean, we could
Hopefully
make a list about his battles on its own, but we like to have a little
Don't be
variety
surprised
on this channel. Says the one who references the same 4 titles in almost every video, or 5 depending on my staff's obsessions.
Okay, Casper with Sam and Max.
Silver the Hedgehog and Boss Battle aren't usually two things people like to hear next to each other. Anyone familiar with the 06 fight knows far too well it's no use trying to redeem it. But fear not, because Generations is here to deliver us an actual good Silver duel. Like Metal Sonic and Shadows fight before it, you fight Silver on a runaway alternating between 2D and 3D. And in both dimensions, Silver barrages you with his telekinetic powers. Throwing cars, hovering around like a shield, and Katamari that crap into a landslide. He even fires Sonic booms after you. Though I guess canonically,
yeah, not that Sonic boom.
You have
if
to
only.
run and spin dash all over the floating cars before you can get to Silver. Hit him enough times and he'll initiate his desperation attack, where he creates a giant meteor behind you and tries to stop you in your tracks. All it takes is one final hit, and he's down.
See ya.
It's amazing.
And crushed by his own ball.
From having one of the worst fights in the whole series to having one of the best, as well as the coolest one in Generations. That's certainly a way to give him a break after the flack he's put up with. And look at it this way. Whether you have an appreciation for Silver or still hold a grudge with him, this brawl works both ways. If you like him, you finally get an awesome battle with the guy. If you hate him, you get to give him a satisfying beatdown and see him flattened by an avalanche of his own karma.
I love the smell of a kicked ass in the morning.
It was kind of iffy on Silver, to be honest. Mostly because of Acid Sonic Heroes.
But not in anyone's head, boy.
The unthinkable had transpired. A day that many believe could only come when pigs fly. Sega made a game series for a Nintendo-based console! Oh, and Sonic and Eggman teamed up for a boss fight.
That too.
Yes, every so often, 2 heated rivals must put aside their differences and work together to defeat the common enemy. Usually it all works out. Other times it goes horribly wrong for everyone involved, including the audience.
What treachery is this, Kerrigan?
Once upon a time, even Sonic and Eggman had to work together to take on the final boss of Sonic Advance 3, Ultimate Gemerald. To set the scene, the semi-final battle for the game has you facing both regular Gemerald, aka a robotic duplicate of Emerald, aka one of the most underappreciated / developed characters in the whole series, and Eggman with his Hyper Egg Robo. If the fates align and you finish the level with Sonic as the leader and have already collected all 7 Chaos Emeralds, then you unlock the true final boss fight, Non-Aggression, where Gemerald upgrades himself using the power of the Emeralds. Afterwards, Sonic goes full Super Saiyan mode and the cooperation begins as he and Eggman chase after the power-mad droid. The fight itself isn't that hard. Follow Gemerald and avoid any oncoming attacks, then use your human Eggman to expose your foe's weak spots. Bash into him a few times, be sure to collect rings along the way, rinse, repeat, but boom, you got it. Day is saved and our reluctant twosome lives to hate each other another day. There's even a cute scene afterward where we see Gemerald repaired and rehabilitated. Basically what Sonic's friends wish they could have done with Emerald had things not gone south for him. Probably the main reason this fight is so low is that
Emerald, sorry.
I don't know. I feel like they could have made a bigger deal about Sonic and Eggman working together. How often do we see that kind of novelty? Especially when, thanks to
I mean, with Sonic Frontiers, you do get that, but not that far.
Seriously, the whole game's gimmick is teaming characters up, so seeing this was a huge treat. But now I want more. So,
I'm down. Number 8. So we'll go here. Oh, hi, Dark Gaia. Yikes.
All right, who unleashed the demonic shadowy kaiju monster this time?
It was me!
Yes,
Thank
in
you,
another
Eggman.
harebrained take over the world scheme, Eggman woke up Dark
Expect anything
Gaia,
less?
a Lovecraftian eldritch abomination sealed in the center of the earth since the dawn of time. It's said to be the very incarnation of darkness and destruction, and it is the very evil counterpart to Light Gaia, aka
Chip.
The family resemblance is uncanny.
Mostly the
He's
jewel,
had
I
an
think.
overarching presence throughout Unleashed, but after we finish beating Eggman's Egg Dragoon, Big Brother's come out to play.
Oh.
He starts off by stealing Sonic's Werehog powers
Oh no. Anyway,
Anyway.
last week,
to boost himself up a little more.
Pretty much.
Fortunately, Chip's got our back with a little help from Gaia Colossus, and our little blue heroes ready
Gaia
for
Mecha.
one last two-part brawl. Just to clarify, I'll be focusing on the Wii/PS2 versions of the fight. While the PS3 and Xbox 360 versions are nice cinematic-wise, they're mostly just a lot of dashing, roaming on a barrier, and QuickTime events. On the other hand, the Wii and PS2 battles feel like an actual clash of the titans. You control both Sonic
Yeehaw.
and the Colossus. With the Colossus, you have to wait for the bloated beast to attack, dodge its blows, and then throw your own fists before it has a chance to raise its guard. After
Go
a
rock
few
and
rounds
sock
of
'em.
fisticuffs, it's Sonic's turn to play. You have to race through the temple, avoid Dark Gaia's tendrils,
Whoa.
and fly straight into the
Yeehaw.
monster's weak spots. Its eyes.
Yeah.
You blind the beast 3 times and happy ending. Or is it?
Is it? Yeah, it ain't done. Oh boy.
Final bosses have an allergic reaction to having one form, don't they?
Yep.
At last we come
Sounds
to the
about right.
final brawl of Sonic Unleashed, and Dark Gaia
Perfect,
has
Carl.
evolved into his perfect form. So, looks like it's Supersonic time again. And this time, he's taking it down Mono y Monstro. No giant robots, just one lone superpowered hedgehog against the enormous entity of darkness and destruction. Well, that doesn't seem fair. How about we give him an extra set of eyes and 4 arms with razor-sharp claws to swipe at us?
Ugh.
Stay alive by collecting rings, avoid Dark Gaia's killer swipes and floating debris, and once again, knock out all of the monster's eyes at least once, and thou art victorious! Honestly, I still hold on to a lot of my criticisms for Sonic Unleashed, the basic idea being kinda dumb and the poor man's beat-em-up controls only making the game half fun. I will say that the Dark Gaia boss battles were definitely on the fun half, the Wii and PS2 versions anyway. You get a serious sense of the scope for how big the beast is and give him a taste of what happens when you mess with the little guy. Plus, after a few too many wonky Werehog levels, it's nice to wrap this game up in a way that felt like a Sonic title.
Yeah, honestly, I think if they did like the, Werehog stages better, I think they would have had a better chance, which is saying a lot, but what do you guys think? I mean, and again, I never actually played Unleashed from the time. Anyway, moving along. Number 7?
You know, in a sense, we're all the heroes and villains of someone's story. Sonic Rush toys with that concept by having us play
yeah,
through
Blaze,
2
right?
storylines, one for each of our 2 playable characters, Sonic and newcomer Blaze the Cat.
Guys, stop. You're giving me too many options. I'm only one man here.
The concept comes to a head in the Deadline Zone where the 2 ultimately clash. Who you face depends on who you're playing as, i.e. if you play as Sonic, you fight Blaze,
You're playing
and
Blaze.
vice versa. Why are they even fighting? They both can't stand Eggman. Well, most of it's on Blaze for being the loner who refuses Sonic's help and would rather carry the weight of the world on her shoulders than work with others.
Introverts and workaholics, sound off in the comments if you feel attacked.
Honestly,
Yep,
no
sounds
matter
about
who
right.
you're playing as, the battle feels evenly matched. Mostly because, in hindsight, Sonic and Blaze
is
are
you.
pretty much cut from the same cloth. Seriously, how many flippin' doppelgangers does Sonic have? But there are a
see,
few
Shadow,
differences. Sonic
Blaze,
is noticeably faster and
Silver,
can
I
do the
think,
homing
so
attack,
say
while
about
Blaze
3.
is better airtime
Actually,
and can
Metal Sonic,
control
I
her
think 4.
descent and harness the power of fire. My kind of cat. Other than that, their moves perfectly mirror each other, and the fights themselves aren't too long or that complex. It's mostly a game of cat and needle mouse to see who can outmaneuver the other first. And when the brawling's done, Blaze takes the first step towards trusting someone and cements what could be a strong friendship. Before certain infamous tiles decide fuck continuity and have Blaze come from the future instead of another dimension and be perfectly fine with wanting her so-called friend dead. Seriously, what the hell, 06? In terms of gameplay, like
Yeah.
I said, these 2 brawls
They
are
really
not
did
exactly
everyone
rocket
dirty in
science.
06,
Just
didn't
literally
they?
butting heads for as long as we can. However, I really like how both Blaze and Sonic's stories culminate into these parallel fights and how it emphasizes the 2's equal footing. Adding to it, it was thanks to this game that Blaze became a recurring face in the franchise, and we got to see firsthand, both as an enemy and a playable character, of why you never mess with her. Plus, when you think about it, when are we ever going to say we got to fight Sonic himself? Outside of Smash.
Yeah, Smash Bros. Yeah, fair. Again, different dimensions, Sonic, so it makes sense. 6?
boy, Black Knight again. Well,
Marlena, Shadow,
'cause,
King Arthur,
us is
what do you
still
got?
in lockdown after last time.
It's been about a year since I talked about Sonic and the Black Knight on out-of-place bosses. And the more I think about it, this game is the out-of-place one in the series, huh? Yeah, I'm sure Sonic Team went to a poetry slam, drank 8 cups of chamomile tea, saw a guy cosplayed as a Game of Thrones character reading his Dragon Tales / Yu-Gi-Oh! Fanfic on an open mic, and then thought, let's make a game based on King Arthur! And if you thought that was ridiculous, well, so is Sonic and the Black Knight. Alright, let's talk boss fighting like before. We got the game's final boss, the Dark Queen. Quick recap, your mage companion Merlina turns out to be evil, and you head to her hideout to defeat her. She wants to make her kingdom eternal, as she's afraid the world will end. Sonic tries to fight her, and he's pushed back. 3 Sonic characters dressed in full knight cosplay give up their swords to him, and Sonic becomes a golden knight to fight back against the Dark
legendary
Queen.
sword
While
Excalibur.
Black Knight's gameplay can be hit or miss, it can't be said the same for the Dark Queen fight. Any worry about slowing down or getting stuck from swinging your sword is gone, as you're mostly in one place.
Yeah,
Move
AK
around the
flying.
screen to avoid her attacks and time your sword swings with hers to parry them. If you get the timing down enough times, you can slash her directly. Do this a few times and Sonic will do one final attack that makes any fan giddy with excitement.
Go.
What makes this fight so good is a combination of build-up and execution. Merlina is a villain not seen in Sonic before or since, with her main goal to preserve the world in its current state instead of taking it over or destroying it. The Excalibur Sonic transformation is one of the best in the series, probably only being beaten out by the Unleashed transformation, as hokey as it is, or the
Fair.
Adventure ones. And the actual battle is short, but has a very satisfying finish. Honestly, if the fight was longer, a bit more difficult, or in a better game, it would probably be higher. This is a good spot for it, I feel.
Fun bit of trivia.
Yeah, Black Knight
Silver and
could have been a
Jet
better
are
game.
Knights in the minigame section of Sonic and the Black Knight.
Alright, guys.
So, which ones are not appearing in this film?
Oof. Poor them. You gotta feel bad for these
What I
guys.
love about machines, they do what they're told. They follow their programming. They don't need time off to get drunk and put the boat in the water.
Eggman's had a ton of different mechs he'd use to crush the little blue
So,
hedgehog.
the
throughout
egg robot?
years. Some are complex and interesting,
Okay.
with a few being total pushovers. But then there are the mechs that really put up
Hi,
a fight.
Viper.
The ones that have been haunting players for years with random attacks, narrow weak spots, and leaving very little margin for error. The crowning jewel of all of these devastating machines is none other than Sonic 2's Death Egg Robot. This boss is so iconic from its design, battle, and the music that encompasses it. Not only does it become primal meme material, but future Sonic games even pay tribute to it with
Hey, there
their
it is.
own versions of the fight. If those were your first-hand experiences with this mech, you had no idea how easy you had it. When you enter the final stage of Sonic 2, one of the first things you'll notice is that there are no rings to collect. None. One bad hit, and you gotta go back and fight Silver Sonic again. While that fight can be telegraphed decently, the boss that comes after doesn't offer you the same mercy.
So basically,
trots
you gotta
around
do it
with this
perfectly,
giant
no
robot,
hits.
practically cutting the screen in half with its size, so you're not phasing through him anytime soon. The spiky arms can not only be hurled at you at high speed and range, but they also protect the main's body while it steps around. The only way you can safely damage him is by waiting for him to rocket himself on top of you where its weak spot should be left open. Even then, that takes a while to happen, so chances are you'll want to take the risk of hitting him while his guard is up. Oh, and forget about trying to attack him from the back either. All you're gonna get is mini mines dropping over you. For its time, the Death Egg Robot really strikes that ideal atmosphere for a final boss. Between its formidable look, lack of weaknesses, and fighting it while you're completely vulnerable. Few fights nowadays can send chills down your spine like this one. It makes it all the more satisfying
There we
when
go.
you finally tear the machine down and make your escape. With how often this robot's been redesigned and reimagined, there will always be one Death Egg Robot we'll remember for giving us the fight of our gaming life. Also,
At that
spoiler alert, Sonic 2 movie version did not disappoint.
Good to know. Check that out. Anyway, number 4.
Now, when it comes to Sonic Adventure 2, there's one boss that is generally seen as the best.
Shadow? Oh! The
But for
final.
as hype as Final Hazard is, it's not going to be my pick.
It's not? It's not? Well, why not?
Now, don't get me wrong. I like Final Hazard as a concept. Sonic and Shadow teaming up for the final boss in
Tag teaming.
space while Live and Learn plays? It's an amazing set piece. Unfortunately, it's not the best as an actual boss fight. The controls are a bit slippery and it's far from challenging.
tell?
I look at it the same way that I do Ground Shaker from Kingdom Hearts 2. A fight with amazing spectacle, but so-so gameplay. Fortunately, there is a
Making
fight
it
from
pretty
Adventure 2
quick.
that manages to look cool and play well. Bio-Lizard. As it turns out, Shadow wasn't the only ultimate life form created by the late Gerald Robotnik. He also had a much different one in the form of the Bio-Lizard. Having now realized that Maria wanted him to fight for humanity, Shadow volunteers to stay behind while everyone else grabs the Chaos Emeralds. The setup is great. You have the battle
brother
of the
versus brother.
ultimate life form plus some surprisingly chill music with very fitting lyrics plays. More importantly, the actual gameplay is solid.
don't go too
As you may
far
have guessed, you
because
have to hit
they will
Bio-Lizard
turn
with its
around.
massive glowing weak point to inflict damage. Getting up there requires you to either grind on the life support cables or homing attack off of the orbs. Between these, you'll have to dodge his balls of darkness and physical attacks. And this can be challenging. Not gonna lie, this is a hard boss fight, but from what I remember, it didn't feel unfair. In the end, I can understand why someone would prefer Final Hazard over the regular Bio-Lizard. As for me, I prefer a fight that plays well over one that just looks cool. But please give me both if you can. I would love that.
And I don't really want to compliment Sonic X, but you can actually figure out how to beat this boss by watching that.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Who knew? Well, I mean, I'll take his word for it, which, considering, like, it actually does follow, like, the first and second of the Venture games, so easy enough. Though, I'm not sure about number one. They tend to, like, switch around timelines depending on who you're playing as. Maybe they stuck with Sonic? I don't know. Anyway, time for the final 3 bosses, and then let's see what managed to the top of the top.
Hey, we got Sonic Heroes again! The game is pretty fun and underrated compared to other Sonic titles. I guess the hype of it being the first game after Adventure 2 and the fact that you had to beat it 4 times to get the true ending kinda spoiled it for a lot of fans. Speaking of that true ending,
to be fair, you have to do it 6 times in the first game.
Not only do you need to beat all 4 routes, but you also need to collect all 7 Chaos Emeralds, of course, in the special zones. So, you know, the way you get the true ending in every other Sonic game. And what do you get by getting the true ending? A 4-phase gauntlet against the ultimate form of Metal Sonic, Metal Madness. Metal Sonic has been the one pulling the strings throughout the game, copying Sonic and Eggman to force heroes to go after him. With this, Metal was able to copy all of their abilities and combine them with his data from Chaos to become a truly ultimate life form. After seeing him transform in a pretty epic, if not super shaky and blurry, transformation sequence, Teams Rose, Chaotix, and Dark challenged the robotic monster to buy time. Each of the 3 phases against the madness sees your control team targeting different cores on his body. Depending on the color of your core, you need to change members to damage it. And as the phases go on, his attacks become more varied and harder to dodge. After 3 phases, Metal Madness rises from his perch and develops wings to fly away. Too bad for him, Team Sonic is ready to rumble with the Chaos Emeralds at their side. Super Sonic takes flight with his friends beside him for the final battle against the Metal Overlord. This fight plays a bit different from the previous Supersonic fights. Instead of being on a rail going towards the target, you get free roam in the air to target Metal Sonic. You can't damage the Overlord directly, so you need to counter his attacks to build up your team gauge. Use Sonic to counter his Crystal Blast, use Tails to shoot down his Spine Missiles, and use Knuckles to
punch the literal airships he throws at you out of the sky!
Metal!
Your rising montage of that!
Once you build up your team gauge, let it rip with the team attack. Do this 5 times and the Overlord will fall. Combine this with one of the best Sonic final boss themes and you got one of the best fights in the series. Seriously, this fight is so good. My main complaints are that the requirements to unlock it are a bit annoying, the final phase is pretty easy, and the music stops when you do a team attack. Come on, Sonic Team! That's the best part to play it at! But those are gripes at best. This fight is great and really shows us what Sonic's made of.
Amen. Number 2? Let me hear where things go here.
Now, I mentioned before that I tried to not make this list full of Eggman fights, but when I actually finalized the list, I didn't realize how little Eggman battles actually made it. I swear I didn't do this on purpose. How could I? Sonic and Eggman make up one of the most iconic and legendary hero-villain duos in gaming. Up there with Mario and Bowser, Mega Man and Dr. Wily, Guybrush Threepwood and LeChuck, F-Zero and Nintendo's interest in them. What, cheap shot? Still, you guys do deserve another Eggman fight, and to pick the best Sonic fight, we need to go to the stars. Sonic Colors is one of the few Sonic games where Eggman didn't resurrect some evil entity to take over the world. He decided to do it himself by going back to his old tricks, enslaving small creatures. Turns out, said creatures were the aliens of a distant planet, and he was harvesting their energy to create a mind control laser. Well, things don't go his way. The laser malfunctions and causes the whole theme park to start blowing up. Eggman isn't one to give up, though. If he can't take over the world, he'll still try to take out that blasted Hedgehog. Eggman dons an armored mech powered by the remaining energy of the Wisps and goes after Sonic and Tails. Tails
mostly Sonic, because,
Sonic to beat. Sonic, being the chill hero he is, throws Tails into the elevator and sends him back to Earth. He turns to Eggman and the battle begins. The Egg Nega Wisp armor, as per its name, is capable of using dark versions of the Wisp powers Sonic's been using up to this point. Sonic must dodge its varied attacks and get up close and hit the mech at its weak points. As he does, the different Wisps he's been working with come and support him. Halfway through the fight, an instrumental of the game's theme starts playing and Eggman gets more desperate. His attacks are more dangerous and become harder to work around. Doesn't matter though. Sonic eventually frees all the Wisps, and in such a cathartic justice, they combine their power to give Sonic the power of the final color blaster, which sends the captor to the stars. Why can't the little animals Eggman's captured before do that? Well, excluding Gamma and maybe Omega. I don't know. Is there an animal in him? The Egg Nega Wisp armor is one of the best fights conceived for Sonic. It combines a love for speed with enough platforming challenges to keep it interesting. My only major gripe is that it can feel a bit short, but it's a Sonic fight. If you can't beat it fast, what's the point?
And number one, there's no honorable mentions here.
Chaos is introduced as one of the new characters in Sonic Adventure. Originally the guardian of the Chao colony, Chaos was driven mad by an attack and needed to be sealed in the Master Emerald. Now that it's back, Eggman recruits it as his latest minion to take over the world. Throughout Sonic Adventure, you fight Chaos as a recurring boss. Every time he absorbs another emerald, he gets a new form. In the final story, Chaos achieves its perfect form by absorbing the negative power of the Chaos Emeralds.
A creature whose best form is his perfect form.
I sell.
How many DBZ comparisons am I going to make?
Fortunately, once again, Sonic is able to use the positive energy of the Chaos Emeralds to go supersonic. The battle is pretty unique as you fly across a flooded city to strike Chaos's weak point. Of course, you have plenty of obstacles to avoid and rings to collect along the way. All the while, the main theme, Open Your Heart, is triumphantly playing. This fight has it all. Anime power-up? Check. Theme song playing during an epic moment? Check. Multiple phases? Check. Seriously, this fight is so good, it makes up for having to play as Big the Cat. Now that I said it out loud, this boss battle feels like a reward, you know? It's such a simple fight, but again,
just
like
going through it all the way.
Sonic the Hedgehog, simple does not mean bad. You put in the work, you get to be awesome. After the brawl, you're rewarded with a heart-warming scene where Chaos is brought back to its senses and goes to live in peace with Tikal. Though I have to point out, Tails sounds a bit too optimistic about what happened.
All's well that ends well, right?
But for now... Do you not see the city?
Well, you could just wish everyone back with the Chaos Emeralds.
Josh, you're thinking of the Dragon Balls?
Yep.
Can you blame me for mixing them up?
Whoops. I mean, then again, considering what Eggman's been up to, and considering Tails actually did stop a missile from destroying the town, I think they got away to speed track the whole, rebuilding process. I think. I don't know. Like, if you have superheroes, you kind of have to have, some way to, okay, how do we get everything back in order in the fastest amount of time? Come on, you know that's real. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that list. Let me know your favorite boss fight. Till next time, adios.